From university sweethearts to future king and queen, William and Kate's untold journey. Everyone knows the image. A prince, a commoner, a university romance that became a modern royal fairy tale. But that version is incomplete. Because what began at St. Andrews was not destiny unfolding smoothly. It was uncertain, fragile, nearly lost. And the truth is, their story almost ended before it ever began. We think we know William and Kate. But what if the most important moments happened when no one was watching? What if the love that made them future king and queen was forged not in privilege, but in doubt, distance, and quiet decisions that changed everything? This is not the polished version. This is the untold journey. At St. Andrews University, Prince William arrived carrying the weight of history. The future of a monarchy. The trauma of public loss. The eyes of the world even when he tried to hide among students in lecture halls and cafeterias. He wanted normalcy. He wanted to disappear into the crowd. And more than anything, he wanted to be treated like a person, not a symbol. Kate Middleton arrived with none of that. She was confident, observant, grounded. She came from a close family that valued privacy, stability, and emotional openness. She was not seeking attention. She was not chasing a title. She was focused on building her own life. At first, there was nothing cinematic about them. No grand gestures, no instant declarations. They were friends. They shared flats. They cooked meals together. They laughed at the same jokes. They navigated exams, stress, and social awkwardness like everyone else around them. And that is where the real foundation was laid. William watched how Kate moved through the world. Calm, resilient, unimpressed by status. He noticed how she treated people when no one important was watching. He saw how she listened. How she held her ground. How she did not bend herself to fit someone else's expectations. Kate, meanwhile, saw behind the curtain. She saw a young man shaped by loss, pressure, and responsibility far beyond his years. She saw his vulnerability, his discomfort with attention, his deep sense of duty mixed with fear of what that duty might cost him. They were not falling into a fairy tale. They were choosing each other slowly, quietly, without knowing where it would lead. But once the outside world noticed, everything changed. The media began circling. Friends became sources. Private moments became headlines. Kate was no longer just a student. She was being watched, judged, analyzed. Her clothes, her expressions, her silence, every detail was scrutinized. William felt the guilt immediately. He had seen this before. He knew what relentless attention could do. He knew the damage it could cause to someone unprepared. And that fear shaped one of the most misunderstood chapters of their story. They broke up. To the public, it looked like indecision, immaturity, a prince unwilling to commit. But behind the scenes, it was far more complex. William was standing at a crossroads. He had seen what happened when royal life consumed someone without mercy. He was terrified of pulling Kate into a future she could not escape. He questioned whether love was enough to protect her from what was coming. Kate, meanwhile, faced her own reckoning. She could wait in uncertainty. Or she could choose herself. And she chose strength. During that separation, Kate did something extraordinary. She did not speak publicly. She did not plead. She did not crumble. She lived. She worked. She socialized. She rebuilt her sense of independence. And William watched. He watched her resilience. He watched her dignity. He watched her refuse to define herself by his absence. And something clicked. For the first time, he understood that Kate was not someone he needed to protect from the role. She was someone who could walk beside him in it. When they reunited, it was different. The balance had shifted. This was no longer a young romance drifting with circumstance. This was a deliberate choice. From that moment forward, Kate was no longer just William's girlfriend. She was being tested by the institution itself. Royal life is not just about appearances. It is about silence, endurance, restraint. You were expected to absorb criticism without response. To smile through pressure. To sacrifice privacy for stability. Kate learned this without complaint. She observed. She adapted. She waited. And that waiting was not passive. It was purposeful. She waited to be certain. Certain of William. Certain of the life. Certain of herself. When the engagement finally came, it was not a surprise to those who truly understood their journey. It was the result of years of preparation, doubt, growth, and commitment. The engagement interview showed a calm confidence that came from experience, not fantasy. Kate spoke with clarity. William spoke with certainty. They were no longer university sweethearts. They were partners. But marriage did not make their story easier. It made it heavier. As Prince and Princess of Wales, every move carried meaning. Every decision reflected on the monarchy. Behind the smiles were schedules packed with responsibility. Behind the public unity were private conversations about family, expectations, and the future. Kate became the steady center of William's world. Not by overshadowing him, but by grounding him. She brought emotional intelligence into a system built on tradition. She understood when to step forward and when to remain quiet. And William leaned on that more than the public ever realized. When challenges came, when family tensions rose, when the weight of the crown felt overwhelming, Kate was not just supportive. She was strategic, calm, unshaken. She understood that power did not always need to be loud. As parents, their bond deepened further. Raising children under global scrutiny forced them to confront what kind of royal future they wanted. They chose stability over spectacle, presence over performance. Those choices were not accidental. They were shaped by everything that came before. By university kitchens. By painful separations. By years of quiet learning. Today, as they move closer to becoming king and queen, their partnership looks effortless to the outside world. But it is effortless only because of the work that preceded it. Their love was not inherited. It was built. Built through doubt, through distance, through resilience, through choice. And that is what makes their story endure. Not because it began at a university, but because it survived everything that tried to break it. This is not just a royal love story. It is a human one.